Hello, thanks for watching our video. This is Leo Madrid, Dr. Danny Caputi, and joining us is Mason Borchard. And the three of us are part of the P.e.a.c.e team, and we are just releasing a press release covering the last year of success and accomplishment. It's been a pretty exciting time for us.
Very exciting year.
We've done some, just like the headline says, we've innovated artificial intelligence. With earlier this year, we completed an XPRIZE competition, which led to a grant from the S.C.R.E.A.M Foundation for further developing our artificial intelligence platform in the arts and sciences. And then we also were able to apply this in a global online hackathon sponsored by the S.C.R.E.A.M Foundation with hundreds of participants worldwide. And we took one of the top prizes with the Octopus Network. And so we're going to be talking about the press release we're sending out and then just commenting a little bit on it. So thanks for joining us.
So in response to the coronavirus pandemic, the XPRIZE Foundation, which recently became a household name because of the carbon removal challenge that Elon Musk basically started. But before that existed, there was the pandemic response challenge, where after about a year or so of data we had, a bunch of computer engineers and scientists came together and said, I think we have enough to do machine learning with this now that we have a good time series of COVID cases and various lockdown measures or mitigation strategies. And so they put out a $500,000 challenge, cognizant, through the XPRIZE to challenge people to develop a machine learning model that will predict cases, future cases in 235 global regions, and then B, make prescriptions to optimize cases versus cost. So in other words, when you do really heavy lockdowns, that might reduce your cases a lot, but that will also cost a lot. Versus if you do no lockdowns, no mitigation measures, that will be, the economy is still going to flourish. There's not going to be much cost in that, but your cases are going to be very high. Although arguably you get cost from hospitalizations and things like that. But the point is that there's an optimal minimum that reduces the product between cost and cases that the machine learning algorithm is going for. And so those were the two phases of the project. And
I'd like to add also it was 235 regions, 7-day average, over 180 days.
Yes, that was the competition requirement. And so we were one of 20 teams to complete the project
of 104
that entered.
Yeah.
And Mason here helped us with the front end web development to visualize the blockchain-based solution. And we're going to be taking that into the future projects. So Mason, do you want to give us a little detail on what you did for the XPRIZE?
Sure. So for the XPRIZE, I built a couple of interactive models where the user can filter the 7-day average COVID cases by country, and you compare it against the international averages. And then also you could see which of the non-pharmaceutical interventions were most effective. And you could also use the models to figure out what the effects of whatever handpicked non-pharmaceutical interventions that you'd like to combine, and see what those effects are. For example, closing the workplace and closing public transport, just to name a few. And you could do this for I have it set up so you could compare the control versus the blockchain excuse me, solution.
We've also joined the carbon removal competition that Dr. Caputi mentioned, which is $100 million project spread out between several different teams over different competencies. And they've already given away several prizes for student competitions. In April, they'll be issuing up to 15 $1 million prizes. And I think we've got a real shot at that, at one of those. And so we'll be doing very similar modeling that we've done in the past with qubit processing for carbon removal.
Yeah, and this one is going to be basically what Mason discussed, but a version of that integrated into virtual reality, we hope. And so imagine if, you know, a weather forecaster could harness the power of their intuition versus just looking at models, right?
Or the collective intuition.
Yes, and put on a VR helmet and actually feel the elements around them, and make selections that subtly influence the model. And we're gonna do some research to see to what extent that can improve models to predict where CO2 in the atmosphere, so like sources of CO2 and modeling its dispersion and things like that. But based on our past results of how this has worked with the pandemic response challenge, we're very optimistic that this is the right direction to go.
And that led into the next part, and that is after the XPRIZE, we went through a series of further experiments and applications, which led us to developing kind of where we all started in this. That was an art focused marketplace on the blockchain tied in with Halo. And so we ended up writing a 33-page strategic plan for the city of Alameda, which the NEAR Foundation liked so much that they gave us a $60,000 grant to further develop the plan, which included developing our core substrate, Halo here, onto a blockchain. And so we found probably the best and probably the only scalable solution available in the world right now, and that's on the Octopus network, which is powered by the NEAR protocol. And so we hope in the near future, near future, to be putting our first application, and it'll be our core substrate onto the blockchain. All of our main ideas, the unification of quantum mechanics and relativity, those are definitively unified and proven with code, and I would say that all of our claims can be validated with what we've achieved.
Well, they can be replicated.
They're
open source.
Replication is validation.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You know, like I said before, everything we do is open source and downloadable on our GitHub. The data we collect in all our experiments is completely open, even before we publish anything on them. Anybody can download, check our data, and replicate experiments for themselves.
So look for in the near future launching a decentralized autonomous organization in which anybody will be able to participate. Either as part of the research. You can be able to subscribe to our basic data feed for free. Just register for NEAR. It won't be exactly free. It'll cost 1 octo, right?
or a yocto NEAR.
1 yocto NEAR, which is worth like 1 gazillionth of a cent.
Yeah, something like that. Gazillionth.
A gazillionth. I just
Nanocent.
Well, I'll just ask you a question too. We met at the festival, and we have a common acquaintance of Chicken John Rinaldi, and we had sponsored an installation. We were one of the glamping tents at the Strawberry Moon Festival, and you were one of the coordinators of the festival, and that's where we crossed paths, right?
The experience was initially like, oh cool, these guys have LEDs, and then I was like, no, there's something else going on here, and I started watching the computer, and I realized that I was looking at something that had I guess more complexity and depth than just sort of an LED controller or a sound installation or some of the other, because I help implement and design different kinds of LED art, sound art. And sometimes it's enough to just make something that blinks or something that talks, or there's layers of complexity. But whatever I was looking at was clearly not necessarily directly part of the controls for the LEDs or whatever else was going on with the headphones. So I hung around to figure out, to find a little more detail and be like, is this a science experiment? Is this just installation art? Is, what's the vibe? Like what's the story? So I was
Kinda like
intrigued by
Meow
this. I was intrigued by the evidence of complexity and also the obvious like fish hook.
It's
I was like, these guys have a baited hook, but I don't know what it does or who it's for. So I'm going to ask some more questions.
it's kind of like, what you just described reminds me of like walking into a Meow Wolf installation where it's like you don't really know what's going on. It's like, is this just a bunch of art, or is there like a deeper story here? Is there some mystery I have to solve? And you don't know until you like really delve into it. So
Right.
that's perfect. That's what we're going for, I think.
Definitely.
Great. So I mean, I feel like the takeaway with that and with this is that people participate in things that intrigue them and drive their sense of curiosity and wonder. Once sort of their basic needs are met, or even not. And so I'm really excited that we did successfully complete these grant competitions and have been given some awards out of it. It gives me I'm very excited because I'm curious to see where it goes and what we're able to not so much do with the money, but do with the sort of vote of confidence that represents in terms of continuing the experiments and continuing to understand what it is that you two have and Mason have sort of put together and maybe discovered. So that to me is like the big takeaway, is that it's neat that it's tangible. It's neat that it's becoming sort of more demonstrable as to what's been understood, and that apparently is worthy of note to others as well. I think that's really cool. So excited to see where that goes going forwards.
Excellent. Thank you.